Outdoor summer concerts are the absolute best. Sun-baked afternoons where it's just a party. Then as the sun goes down, the actual stage lighting starts to take effect. That's cool. And by the time the headline act closes in the pitch dark, the field clears of its exhausted and delirious revelers looking hopelessly for their cars. Hi, I'm Chris May, writer, producer, and host of This Day in Weather History, now in its second year from the Weather Network in Canada. Today we look at how the wind took over at the Indiana State Fair moments before the band Sugarland were set to come on stage. This day in Weather History. Right here on this podcast back on June 24th, I featured another concert festival affected by weather that ended in near catastrophe. That was the Glastonbury flooding of June 24th. A wind gust out ahead of an approaching severe thunderstorm cell hit the temporary roof structure of the Indiana State Fair's main stage, causing it to collapse. The heavy structure fell on the crowd below, who likely considered themselves the lucky ones to get a spot up close to the stage. They might have even stayed in line for hours or days to get that spot. This tragedy killed 7 people and injured 58 more. The members of Sugarland were in a tour bus preparing to come on stage when this collapse occurred at 8:46 p.m. Remember that time. That has everything to do with this story. The storm system should not have taken anyone by surprise. The National Weather Service had severe thunderstorm notices and warnings updating throughout the day and evening of the concert. There were even automated text messages about the forecast sent to the various state fair personnel on their cell phones. Here now is the sequence of events that led to the fatal collapse. 8 p.m. Cindy Hoy, Executive Director for the Indiana State Fair Commission, calls a meeting to discuss how the weather forecast might affect the 8:45 start time for the Sugarland headline show. The storm was forecast to arrive at 9:15, 30 minutes after the concert's start. Hoy wanted to delay the show until the weather had passed. A team official took that message to Sugarland's production team. The managers only knew about the rain. They did not know about the potential severity of the lightning, wind, and hail that were also expected. They decided to delay the start of the show just 5 minutes. That would have had it starting at 8:50 p.m. in order to allow the band time to warm up. The band's management team said they preferred to go on with the show and only stop it if the weather conditions worsened. Director Hoy accepted the decision, assuming the band had the final say. Her reasoning was that with the storm set to pour over at 9:15 p.m., if it got so bad that they had to stop, there would still have been time for them to at least perform some of the show. 8:30 p.m. Director Hoy was approached by State Police Captain Brad Weaver. He was concerned about the threat to public safety that the approaching weather would pose and recommended that the show be stopped before it even gets going and the fans are all therefore trapped on the grounds. Fearing this might be too late for an orderly exit, he also recommended they put together an evacuation plan for the crowd. Hoy directed her staff to make immediate preparations for an evacuation. 8:39 p.m. The National Weather Service issued a severe thunderstorm warning indicating that hail with a diameter of 25 millimeters or 1 inch was going to be accompanied by winds over 60 miles per hour, which is close to 100 kilometers per hour. This warning was not communicated to Executive Director Hoy or Captain Weaver, who were still anticipating the storm arriving at 9:15. 8:40 p.m. Director Hoy dictated a message to an announcer, who delivered it to the audience at 8:45 p.m. It was announced to the audience that a storm was approaching, but that the show would go on, beginning in 5 minutes. The MC also forwarded the team's evacuation plan and instructions in the event that the conditions got that bad. But with the idea that they still had 45 minutes, there was no directive to actually proceed with an evacuation. Captain Weaver heard the MC's announcement, but sensed that this was a bad idea. He ran fast to find Director Hoy and insisted that the show be canceled immediately. She agreed, and the two started out toward the stage to call it off. That was within the 60 seconds that separated the announcement at 8:45, and remember what I told you to remember off the top, 8:46. Before they even made it to the stage, that fatal wind gust hit the structure, buckling it and collapsing it before they were able to announce an evacuation. In the final investigations, it was concluded that the rigging that failed did not meet industry safety standards. It also stated that the Indiana State Fair officials did not have a fully developed emergency plan. On August 13th, 2011, this day in weather history. Tomorrow is August 14th. Was it a once-in-20,000-year storm? Could be. That's what they called it when on the 14th of August in 1975, there dropped a massive 170.8 millimeters of rain in less than 3 hours on the town of Hampstead in the UK. But 1 in 20,000 years? Let's decide that together when we look back on what happened this day in weather history with me, your host, Chris May.